Get that exciting feel before the show. How do you feel? How do you get ready, Stephen? You just crack your knuckles, or what do you do?
I try to think of the old Dirk Benedict film.
Hey!
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
John, this is Art This, episode 12. Did you ever think
correct.
we'd get to 12 episodes?
I never thought we'd live this long. Plus, I thought the audience might call Tim and tell us to stop.
Very easily.
None of
could.
that happened.
No, not at all.
Well, we got a great show
We
planned
do.
out today, and we have a first for Art This.
That's right.
2 associate producers have joined the team, and they will be doing features of 2 local artists of distinction. But you've got some live folks coming right here in the
As you
studio.
can see, and it should forever stay on our set, we have a upright bass here. Ladies and gentlemen, here locally, we have Sassy Grass to join us today. All female, all traditional music band.
Yes.
We are very excited for Sassy Grass.
Yes, fantastic.
How about
So
you, John?
I guess I'm going to tell folks a little bit about what's coming. Our first video segment, which you'll see on the monitor there shortly, is by Carrie Maynard, and she visited with the local figure Adrian Swain. Now, you might know Adrian. He's been around here since dirt was invented, but he was the director of the Kentucky Folk Art Center until it moved into its fabulous new digs, and he got things settled there and decided to retire and move back to his passion, which is as a potter. So Carrie talked to Adrian Swain about the work that makes artwork in pottery.
You may have done it hundreds of times before, but each time you sit down, it's a new piece of clay, just like it's a blank piece of paper for somebody who's doing a drawing. My name is Adrian Swain. I am a retired museum curator and sometime potter. I used to do it full-time pretty much for a living, and since I retired, I've been able to get back in the studio. I had a job that was essentially unrelated, but I've been able to get back in the studio, and it's just a source of creative satisfaction to me to be able to work in the studio. To be able to work with clay to make pots, it's like getting back to something that I had years ago that I've ignored for a while. The best thing for me to do really is to focus, instead of going back and forth and doing a little of this, little of that, is to work on a kind of a series of things. And in this case, I decided I was going to make somewhere between 50 and 100 mugs, just because repetition is really a part of what makes you a good potter. When you make 3 of something, it's quite different from when you make 50 or 100 of them. The first thing you do is you have to take it and do what is called wedge it, which is similar to kneading. The closest thing you can use as an analogy is kneading, like kneading bread dough. But what this does is it gets the air out of the clay and compresses it and makes it uniform in consistency. So after I've done that, I then take that lump of clay and cut it up and weigh it out into small uniform sized lumps. So in this case, I'm just using a 3/4 pound ball of clay. So I make those, and I usually will do between 20 and 30 or so of those at a time. So then once I've got those weighed out, I then sit down at the wheel. At the wheel, basically, the first thing you have to do is to center the clay. What you're going to do is you're going to make a hole into the middle of that. All the time your hands are wet and have to stay really wet, or the clay will stick to your hands and come off the wheel. You center the clay by pulling it up and compressing it back down. So once you're satisfied that it's centered, you open it up using, in my case, I use the middle finger on my left hand, down to leaving enough clay that will be the floor, the bottom of the pot. I then open that out so that I've got basically the floor, the bottom of the pot established. And then I start to pull the walls upwards between the remaining clay to pull it upwards into the wall of the pot, using 3 or 4 passes at it to gradually thin it out each time a little bit more. Dry it out inside with a sponge, get any excess moisture outside of it. I usually shape the outside of it or smooth the outside of it with a flat piece of wood which in the business we call a rib, maybe because that's what the very first potters used, I don't know, a rib bone, but trim any excess clay down at the very base on the outside off, and then you cut underneath it, stop the wheel, wipe your hands off, and if you're lucky you can pick it up. It's soft, it's flexible, but with gentle touch you pick it up and you move it off the wheel when you're ready to take another piece of clay and start on another one. For me, it's really just, it's a venture back into an area that I used to be in on a daily basis, but I'm now coming back to with very different reasons, and without the need to make a living doing it, I'm able to kind of enjoy it in a totally different way. So it's a personal indulgence for me to make pots right now.
Connecting you with employers and graduate program. Get info to launch your career now. Turning you into a professional. Focus on professional development. Start your job or internship now. Let Career Services help you separate yourself from the crowd. Develop into an expert candidate. Career Services is here to help. Build a network. Hands-on workshop. Career Services, turning you into a professional.
Thank you all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what happens when you combine 3 females with a love of traditional music and the scholarship that comes with it here at Morehead State University and in Rowan County? You get the fine ladies of Sassy Grass. Now, after this first tune, I'm going to sit down and ask them how they came up with that great name, Sassy Grass, and the origins of it. But performing a brand new tune written for this particular show, we are very excited for the original composition of High Above the Mountains. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Sassy Grass. Ladies.
Don't you tell me that it hurt you that day, that you just lost all feelings you had. You're sorry that it all ended this way, that you never meant to make me feel bad. But then you picked me up off my feet, you made me fly like a bird. You stole away with my heart, then away with mountains. Thank you.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, John.
How are you?
I'm good.
What is that beautiful instrument you're playing?
Why, John, this is a Lee Oscar harmonica.
Do tell.
People ask me all the time what type of harmonicas I prefer. I prefer Lee Oscar. Lee Oscar harmonica is the preferred harmonica with professional harp players and TV show hosts.
If I didn't know better, I'd swear Steve was doing a commercial for our first sponsor.
That's right. Lee Oscar Harmonica is the sponsor for Art This. And one of the things with Lee Oscar, folks, if you're curious in playing harmonicas, each Lee Oscar harmonica comes with a unique quick guide to inform you to how to play harmonicas with various styles of music.
All I can say is, Art This.
Art
Thanks,
This.
Lee.
Thanks, Lee. Welcome back to Art This. I am sitting here with the ladies of Sassy Grass, and let me say that was a wonderful first tune there.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful tune. Well, before we get into that song in particular, take the time. You are Michelle Canning,
Yes, sir.
Becky Alfrey, and Melissa Ratliff, the ladies of Sassy Grass. So that first song, who wrote that?
I wrote that.
Tell us a little bit how you wrote that song. How'd you come up with the idea for the song, the name, the titling?
Yeah, well, I was on an airplane, and my boyfriend had just broken up with me. He had cheated on me, and I was on the plane, and before the first flight, I didn't know he had been cheating on me. I just knew he had broken up with me, and I was looking out the window and noticing how beautiful the mountains were, and in my connector, I found out that he had been cheating on me. So I tried to put together the bad and the good that I had just experienced, the beautiful mountains and this heartbreak that I just had, and put them together. And so I actually wrote most of that song on that plane. And it was a 1-hour flight from Charlotte to Lexington, and then sang it the whole drive from Lexington back to Moorhead, and eventually put it together into that song.
Does that particular boyfriend know this, or is this the first time that...
Well, he'll know it after he sees the show.
As they say, you got the revenge in the song.
That's,
so,
yeah.
right. Well, talk a little bit about all three of you are students at the Kentucky Center for Traditional Music, and how did you come to play music together?
I think Missy started it.
Yeah, it's all Mrs. Hall.
Yeah, I was back home in Massachusetts. It was over the summer, and all of a sudden I got a text from Becky, and it said, "Missy and I are starting a band. You want to join?" And I just said, "Sure." so I don't know how they all got it started, but.
What, we were setting up a Squallies. Yeah. What were we watching? Were we watching the Knott Brothers?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was the Knott Brothers.
And yeah, so I told Becky, I'm like, we need to be playing music together. So we called Michelle, and there we were.
And we had Thomas set a date so we'd force ourselves to get it to go.
Yes.
So
Set a date for you to have your
for us
first
to play
gig?
at Squallies,
Yes.
yes. So they gave us about, 6 weeks or so
About that, yeah.
to jump in and find a set and get it practiced. So
Well, I'm dying to know the name Sassy Grass. Why Sassy Grass? Where did the name come from?
Well, we're sassy.
Okay, all right.
We play bluegrass.
Sassy
No,
ladies
we,
in bluegrass.
we had a lot of different. We thought about the Stiletto Sisters for a while, and we had all kinds of things going. But we had a group message on Facebook called Band Names that we still use for other band information. But I think Melissa came up with Sassy Grass.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, okay, what describe? Yeah, we played bluegrass. We're sassy. Well, yeah, well, sassy grass, because yeah, Stiletto Sisters. I was like, that could be another type of show.
Yeah.
So, sassy grass was safe, and
Well,
it
tell me a little bit
described
about
us.
the dynamic here. Do you all switch off instruments? How do you decide who sings and performs? And I know you all three play instruments. Is there a certain way you all get together and decide who's going to write, who's going to perform? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we each play something. All three of us play bass. All three of us play guitar. And Becky and Melissa both play auto harp, and I play the banjo. And of course, we all sing. So a lot of it's just a matter of we take the song and we think of, we
we each have different styles in our playing and whose style would work best for each song. And so we might have Melissa play the auto harp and Becky play the bass and I play the banjo, and then we think, well, this song doesn't really need a banjo, but Becky's style auto harp would be great for this, and so we switch it around, and so we do a lot of that, just listening to the song and what makes it work.
Okay, now the second song you're going to perform for us today, what's the name of this second song?
Blue Moon of Kentucky.
The Bill Monroe classic?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, is it an original take on the Bill Monroe
yeah.
classic, or is it a little bit different? Do you spice it up at all?
We've got, Becky did an awesome job with the arrangement on this.
We took a rockabilly version of it and then sassy grassed it. So yeah,
It's been sassy grass.
That's right.
ladies and gentlemen.
So we got a little of Bill Monroe and a little of Elvis and a little of Sassy, and
Right.
you know, we kind of put it all together.
Steve Martin on banjo. Right? I always liked his version of Blue Moon of Kentucky. Well, tell us, where can the people out there find you online? Do you have a social media presence?
Yes, you can go on Facebook, and if you type in Sassy Grass, it'll show up. You know, well, there's a picture of the three of us crowded in a little dressing room, sitting on a chair in the sassiest positions you can imagine.
And the sassy grass is one word.
Yes.
So
oh, it's-
Facebook.com/sassygrass?
Yes.
Yeah, Sassy Grass Band, actually.
Sassy Grass Band, we'll get that. Tell us a little bit about, you got some gigs coming up.
Yes. We're going to be playing in Pasquale's downtown Moorhead. That's February the 26th from 7 to 9. And it's always a lot of fun there. They have different band there every week. And the Knott Brothers started all, Tyler Mullins and Thomas Albert.
They've been on Art This before.
Yeah.
They're with the Knott Brothers.
So they started it all. They were the first ones to contact Pasquale's and Jan and say, yeah, we'd like to start a weekly show. And so we are honored that they asked us to come and join them and be one of the performers.
All right. What do you think, John? We'll open for the Sassy Grass Girls at Pasquale's, maybe. I'm in. We'll do an 18-minute version of the opening song.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that.
Well, you guys stick around and play that one more tune for us. We're excited to hear
That's
some Bill
sure.
Monroe.
You know, we've got something for you.
What do you got?
Well, we were thinking, you know, your outfit was missing something. You know, you got the nice psychedelic tie and everything, but you need
My
a sticker
Adrian
here
tie.
that says, I'm sassy and I know it.
All right, let's see. Can we get a shot of this here? Camera one.
All right. And
Sassy, and I know it.
We've got one here, too, for someone, lucky person in the audience, that says Sassy Britches.
Sassy Britches.
Catches this has the sassiest britches.
I'll hold on to this. Well, folks, we'll be right back with the jazzed up, sassy version of Blue Moon of Kentucky. So be right back with more Sassy Grass.
All right.
Good job.
Hello, I'm Tab Hunter. Did you know that mental illness claims more victims than any other disease? That's right. 1 American in every 10 is suffering from some disabling mental or emotional disorder. Please join in the fight against mental illness. Support your mental health association. Thank you.
The moon of Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on the one that's gone and left me blue. The moon of Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on the one that's gone and left me blue. Blue moon, blue moon, blue moon, keep on shining bright. You're gonna bring me back, my baby, tonight. Blue moon, keep shining bright. I said, blue moon of Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on the one that's gone, left me blue. Blue moon of Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on the one that's gone, left me blue. It was on a moonlit night, the stars were shining Blue moon, blue moon, blue moon, keep on shining bright. It's gonna bring me back my baby tonight. Blue moon, keep shining bright.
What are you doing, Fred? I'm making a list of the 7 warning signals that might mean cancer.
No need, Fred. We just got our list from this American Cancer Society volunteer.
Guard those you love. No cancer's warning signals. Give to your American Cancer Society.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Sassy Grass. Check them out online and go see them at Pasquale's. I am Sassy and I know it. I still have the sticker here. Right now, let's go to our second feature by our great student, John Tanner Blevins. Went out in the field and he shot a piece with Professor of Education and local artist Wayne Willis. He went to visit Wayne a week or so back and put together this wonderful piece on Wayne. Wayne, of course, has a variety of different art stylings you will see here in the piece, and I highly recommend checking him out. And you'll see Wayne in his natural habitat here, and kind of juxtaposing that with his role here on campus. So let's take a look at Wayne Willis.
Well, I'm Wayne Willis. I am a professor of education at Morehead State University. My field is the history and philosophy of education. I did a PhD in that at University of Oklahoma. I've been here 26 years. I'm a department chair in middle grades and secondary education. And I love teaching. I especially love teaching face-to-face. I do a lot of online teaching I find less satisfying. But you know, my day job is professor and department chair. Well, I'm not interested in painting, you know, imaginary cabins in the woods or imaginary mountains and lakes and those kinds of things. I paint my world. I paint what I see around me. And so, because I started off as a photographer, I almost always have a camera with me. And I just am looking at the world around me, and when I see interesting colors, shapes, contrast, sort of, some of it's not about the content, it's about the visual things I see. And sometimes I see things that have a sort of a compelling content to them that I will photograph. But usually it's about interesting shapes and values. There's a sort of an abstract quality that appeals to me that I then incorporate into paintings that are highly realistic, highly representational. Since the phone cameras have become so good now, instead of lugging a camera in all the time, I just have my phone. But I stop on the side of the road and take pictures a lot. I get it out while I'm walking across campus. I see something that looks interesting. So it used to be I had to carry my 35mm camera, and it was fairly expensive to collect all these images. But I have thousands, maybe tens of thousands of images I've taken over the years that I use as reference material for paintings. Most of the time I will print 8x10s of those to work from. And recently I've started just actually propping my computer up in here and painting from it. And so I will take a piece of, if I'm painting in watercolor, I'll take a very light pencil. If I'm painting in acrylics roll, I'll take a piece of vine charcoal and I will just loosely sketch it in what I want, and then I will start painting directly on that. If it's something that's going to be very intricate, that I want to be very intricate, that is essentially an enlargement of a photograph, sometimes I will bring a projector in here and actually project the image onto the paper, onto the canvas, and lightly sketch in the major features so I know exactly where I want them to be. And so I said I started out as a photographer. In some ways, this is a way of a very creative way of enlarging my photographs. My drawing skills are good. You know, I go out and paint from life sometimes. I paint from photos sometimes, and sometimes I actually project the image on the canvas or paper and sketch it in. If I am, painting a landscape, I just take whatever nature has given me, and I sometimes will go back to the same scene repeatedly to get the light I want. I've been riding my bike around Ellington Loop out here in Sharkey, and there was a pasture over on the next block that was just beautiful. And I would ride by and I'd think, man, I need to paint this pasture. And so one afternoon, late afternoon, I went over there to take pictures, and I took a lot of photographs of it, but somehow they They didn't speak to me. The light wasn't right. Basically, it was too cloudy. And so I came home unsatisfied with the pictures, and I was sitting here and I looked out the window and the clouds had broken. The sun was shining really bright. I hopped in my car and I went back over there. The sun was perfect. I reshot all those pictures and I had a number of images from that I wanted to paint from. When I'm photographing people to paint, it's important to me to have very strong contrast. So I see the contours of the face. I'll take them with various exposures, and then I'll pull them up on my computer, and you know, if it's too dark to see the details, I will lighten it up a little bit. Or when I'm painting the shadows, I may make it lighter. When I'm painting the highlights, I may make it darker. It's one of the great virtues of digital photography. I've had some shows here in town, and periodically I have a piece or two in a show at the Art Center downtown in Moorhead. I don't have any exhibits up right now, but on the 5th floor of Ginger Hall, one of my big paintings, it's a great big oil painting actually of a scene downtown that focuses on the Roadrunner Lounge. It can be seen there anytime. And if you come up to the 6th floor of Ginger Hall, my office is essentially a mini gallery of my work. And there's a quote from Robert Henry, who was one of the all-time great art teachers. He taught in New York in the 1800s, early 1900s. But he said all art grows out of joy. And I don't know that all does, but I would like to think that most of my art emerges from the joy I have in creating it and the joy I find in life. And so I hope that, that at least some of that shows up, that people see it and go, this is a celebration of something.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
All right.
All right.
Clap.
Hey.
Steve, I don't know where you come up with these great acts. Sassy Grass just blew me away today.
Yeah. Bill Monroe, would he be proud of that?
I think he would. I think he would. I think he'd probably want to join.
Yeah. He was
right.
extra sassy.
Yes.
He did that, right?
Make sure you check out Sassy Grass Band on Facebook. And also, we want to thank our two producers today.
We do. Gary Maynard, who did the piece earlier, you saw on Adrian Swain, and John Tanner Blevins, who's back there on camera too, did that fantastic piece on Wayne Willis. So thank you all.
Yes, nice work. We hope to get them on the show in front of the camera introducing their own pieces before the semester's out. Next show, next month, Art This 13 coming up. Professor Defong Lee is going to come in with an Art This First. He will sit here and paint for us and talk to people and answer questions about technique and motivation. And the audience will be in the show. It's going to be exciting. So you're, of course, all invited if you'd like to come. I guess we better get out of here.
We better.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
2, 3.